Over 10 weeks, a collective of young adults impacted by the foster care system and one supporter created art, individually reflected, and discussed the following questions. How do older youth in care define and experience wellness? What do older youth in care need to be well? And what can the foster care system do to better support youth? We created this film with the hope of enlightening others about our lived experiences and advocating for changes in the foster care system. First thoughts on wellness. Wellness is not the absence of problems or struggles. Wellness is being aware of your perspective and looking for the positive, understanding that wellness is a journey. Our initial reflections on wellness revolved around the pursuit of comfort, peace, safety, or a state of zen, or having hope to find those states later down the line. Wellness may not always mean hope or comfort, but for us, foster youth, the pursuit of it, doing what keeps you moving, almost certainly does.
Clean slate, because the stillness of the clouds reminds me of the stillness of my ever-thinking mind when I feel good. When I don't feel good, my mind feels like turbulence of an airplane. When I feel good, I feel like I'm not overthinking everything. I'm not stressing out, and I'm not going insane because of whatever reason. On the plane, there was a lot of turbulence, and my mind was racing. Then I looked out the window and saw the stillness, and I felt fine. Wellness is calm stillness.
This picture is wellness. Because even though our lives can be dark and hard at times, we eventually get to the light. Every time I look out of the window and I look at the sky, I just feel calmer.
This is a candy cane broken, so it looks like a door because when you persevere and work hard, some sweet doors will open up to you.
My cats are so goofy. They always know how to make me laugh. They are always here for me even when I'm sad, if I'm crying or something. They lick my tears or try to make me happy. They're just always there for me, and they don't do anything to hurt me. I want my cats and I to live a good life because we've been through a lot. Animals are really important, and people don't understand the importance of their love. I just want to showcase that. Before I went into foster care, I grew up with a lot of different animals, and having that bond torn apart was a lot emotionally.
This represented wellness to me because I recently moved in with my boyfriend, and before that, for the past 4 or 5 years, I would have to get up and put all my stuff in the trash bag and move back and forth, and before that, I was going back and forth with my parents. When I moved, I got a desk for my room and I got stuff to put my makeup in. I don't know, walking into the room, seeing my makeup just laying there flat, like I don't have to pick it up, nobody's gonna tell me anything, I don't have to worry about picking it up and moving it somewhere else. But it feels really comforting to know that I have somewhere to be comfortable in and feel safe, and the environment is really different.
Watching the sunset makes me realize that it all fades away with time, and that every bad situation cannot last forever. When I took the photo, I was there to experience the sunset. It was just calming. It just made me realize that no matter how long, there is always an end to everything. We need rest, just to remember bad situations don't last forever. It all comes to an end.
I call this photo Smile for the Camera, and it's meant to represent people like me who are still struggling but have to put on a smile for others to show that they are well. Wellness for everyone is a bit different. For me, I know it ties in with mental health. Throughout this pandemic, my mental health hasn't been the best. Since I'm still struggling in that point, I wanted to represent wellness as if you're still struggling, it's okay. You can achieve wellness, but there are going to be struggles in between. If you can't be well for yourself, then show it for others. I have a full house, and I have a little sister. So even when there are times when I don't feel the best, I feel sad or depressed or something, I have to show my little sister that I'm well so she won't worry.
Wellness to me means not letting others take my joy. During this time all my life really, I've always been going through a lot, or giving people my power and letting them take my joy and my happiness. If they do something, I'm instantly hurt or angry. From this day on, I just decided I'm not going to let people take my joy and my happiness anymore.
I have always felt like the sky was never ending, however, not in an intimidating way. That day the clouds were super beautiful and it made me feel at peace. Seeing this made me remember life is okay and I will be okay.
I took the picture of a sunrise, and for me, the sunrise means new opportunities, a new day, new opportunities to make change. It's a new day to start working and to make something good out of what you get. Sometimes, when I'm going through a lot, all I do is just sleep. I know the problem won't go away, but I just sleep. By the time I wake up, I get refreshed, and then new ideas come. Just like the way sunrise comes with a new day, with the new day comes new opportunities, new ideas, new things you can do with yourself.
Playing basketball and passing on that passion represents wellness to me. In this picture, this is actually family. This is one of my little people, so to speak. And if you're a basketball player, you know his form is absolutely terrible. He definitely missed the shot, but me being able to teach him or just allow him to play and passing on what was safe to me is wellness, because giving always makes me happy. It's twofold in that I get to share what I love while continuing to do what I love. Basketball for me is like therapy, helping me to de-stress and cope with life's challenges.
If you continue to live in your thoughts, they'll end up consuming you. It's just one of those things where it's like, if you don't take care of yourself and be kind to your mind, you're probably going to end up in a dark space. It's going to be hard to get yourself out of that space if you don't take the time to take care of yourself first. For every problem you try to hide, let them go like balloons in the sky. I wanted this picture to showcase that even though there's darkness within this space, or even in this world for that matter, that there's always light somewhere that you could find. But it's really up to you to find that at the end of the day.
Running in the open court and playing with my friends is always refreshing. When I'm playing full court basketball, just passing the ball to people, laying the ball up or shooting the ball, it just feels really good. It helps me maintain a balance of health physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's a healthy outlet. It's always been that way since I was a kid. I mean, basketball's been the safe place for me, even when I felt like I didn't have a literal or physical safe place.
When I was at the beach in Hawaii, it brought me to a state of serenity. I felt that all my stress and anxiety left. This photo represents wellness to me because for me, wellness also means self-care in a way. And being at the beach is one way I care for myself. I call it my spirit area. I'm a water sign, so I love water, but what I mean by spirit area, I mean a place where I don't have to worry about nothing coming my way. Don't have to worry about no stresses.
Expressing your creativity and wellness. When we express ourselves creatively, we find a sense of calmness. We feel lighter, freer, and happier. Even though creative expression is a messy process, we find a moment of joy even through making mistakes. Creativity is truly authentic, and there are many ways to express ourselves. Art speaks when words cannot. We all need an outlet, some way to express the emotions we have inside.
People use the word sorry multiple times throughout the year. People don't realize after the damage has been done, it's difficult and sometimes impossible to rebuild what's lost or destroyed. If you look closely, I drew bruises and patches. Everything that I have on here is a representation of what it feels like after that person apologizes or says the word sorry. Actions are louder than words. Once I drew this, it did hit a personal side of me. It was a form of relief.
This photo is from the screening of the first film I created. It's called Perception versus Reality, and it was just basically about me healing from my traumatic past and stuff like that. I took a picture while it was on the big screen at the movie theater. I just thought this was another form of expression. Me watching my film, wanting to take a picture, and missed all the excitement and everything.
When you're in a dark place, you sometimes tend to think that you're buried. Perhaps you've been planted to bloom. It's up to you to find beauty in everyday things. One way that I do that is by taking photos. The process of it and being able to do it all on my own, and then seeing the outcome is what really makes it worth it at the end of the day. It's what brings me joy. It's what gets me out of my funk. It's what makes me feel like me.
My little sister likes to ask for my mirror to look at herself when she gets something new to wear. She stares at herself while smiling happily, proud of how she looks. As I watched her, a thought popped in my head. When did I stop looking at myself in the mirror like that? Why do I now have to convince myself that I'm beautiful? I became jealous of my little sister, envious of what she saw in the mirror that I couldn't see myself. To practice wellness is to practice self-love. The whole meaning behind the photo is just creatively depicting what my little sister sees in herself that just makes her so happy. In the photo, I wanted to depict how I now understand to express my wellness, especially to myself. I have to look at myself in the mirror and say positive things.
I can't really draw, but coloring makes me well while I'm sick because it keeps my mind from focusing on negative.
My like songs that got me through some hard times and make me happy and give me the lift I need when I'm down.
If only romance and war weren't the solution to all psychosis, a perfect irony. This line is from a novel I was reading. Reading affects mental or social anxieties and depression. Reading, it soothes the mind, it relaxes the mind. I'm just an old new word in my own world I created.
This is a resin art piece I made a year ago. I used sand from the beach to make it. I like to do art when I don't feel good because it takes my mind off a lot of the boring or mundane things in the world. And art doesn't always have to be something perfect or anything in particular, really. It can just be. So I just go with the flow and create no matter what.
The great thing about creating is that no one can tell you what you make is wrong, but you. Here in this picture, a cup was made and a shirt by myself, but I made some obvious mistakes. If you look closely, the logo on the cup is all wrong. It's backwards and upside down. It's not right. And then for the shirt, it's the same thing. I did everything right, but it says San Francisco spelled wrong. It's not how San Francisco is supposed to be spelled. Nevertheless, the process was enjoyable and I learned a lot at the same time. So that's the important thing.
My safe corner is comforting and reassuring because it reminds me I'm strong enough to get through any situation and feels a light at the end of the tunnel. It feels like everything I've been through I have here to come to. Any problem or situation that I've been going through at the end of the day, this is where I come. I put up these LED lights because when I was younger, my dad let me pin Christmas lights around my room, and it was a little bit before he left. Everywhere we moved to, I had to have my lights because it reminds me of my dad. I think that's where the most comfort comes from.
Creativity, to me, all different types, are fluid. You're going through the motions to see what fits your style. There's never a straight line in creativity, so the edge of this photo represents the need to jump into it without hesitation. The water represents that fluidity, and the streams shooting upward are an ode to those who come into their being and realize how much they've grown. Reflections in the water can be a reflection of one's creative journey, and should the stream fall back into the water, the process starts all over again.
As a child, nobody would listen to me, except my cans, tips, and stencils that made unconscious therapy sessions. The art of expressing myself all night and all over LA saved my life. This was one of the ways I started to express my creativity. One of the ways I was able to be okay.
Connecting spiritually and wellness. Though we do not all have the same meanings for spirituality, we've all discovered something bigger than ourselves. God, spirits, astral planes, ancestors, meditation. There's no right way to be spiritual. You just need to believe. It is vital for all the different ways of practicing spirituality to be respected. We wish that was the case in foster care, but it was not. Instead, foster care was a space in which spirit was under constant attack. If you don't have anything to believe in, wellness cannot exist. Spirituality ultimately gives people a reason to keep believing in their true selves and pursuing peace even in the most chaotic environments.
I modeled this sweater that says "Seek Jesus" for a Christian company. My spiritual wellness is that I seek Jesus when I need something or just to call on Him, talk to Him. Jesus is my best friend, and He gets me through obstacles. He got me through being in foster care and molded me to the person I am today. I like to take pictures of the sky. I was traveling and I saw the sunset, and it just was so beautiful, looking at God's creation and the way that the clouds were set. It was just so beautiful to me. I took a picture.
Listening to sound bowls and meditation is what spiritual connection and wellness means to me, because it helps soothe my emotions and recenters my mind.
If nothing ever changed, there'd be no butterflies. The wings of transformation were born of patience and struggle. I took a picture of this butterfly and decided to edit it just so you could see it in a different perspective, and it sort of just draws you in. Anytime I see a butterfly, it just makes me really happy because it reminds me that someone's always watching over me. Specifically, I think of my parents anytime I see one, because my mother's favorite insect was a butterfly. So in a way, it's like my spirit animal, as if it's kind of like a guardian angel in a way. It's their way of visiting me.
This tree reminds me of the prison my stepdad used to send us letters, cards, and trinkets from, as well as the pictures with other inmates. I do not remember if it was Folsom or St. Quentin, but from one of them. This tree is a mile away from where I was born. This tree came out in a movie that made me understand who I may be and where and why. Even the chain link fence around it holds so much meaning to me. Today, this tree reminds me of my family, my community, and my roots. It signals to me resilience and outstanding beauty, just like the lessons I have learned in my life, here where I am during these times and space. It connects me to my being, my ancestors, my truth, my all, my spirit.
I chose the dolphins because they are my spirit animal. I wouldn't say I consider myself a dolphin, but I'm a water sign. I literally live for the ocean. I live for it. Dolphins are honestly everything for me, and I saw many dolphins while I was out there in Hawaii.
This photo represents the trauma of religion, especially at a young age. I was forced into believing what I had to believe. I never really understood the concept. I just followed orders. It felt like I was being molded into something that I didn't want to be. In this photo, it's the darkness of the unknown. For me personally, the Bible is a very iffy topic because it stems from the past, from people. For me, there's no proof behind it, so it's the unknown for me. It's believing in the unknown and being wrapped and entangled in the black stuff, the scriptures. I like to call myself spiritual because I believe in auras, the third eye, those kind of things. I'm just starting my spiritual journey. I feel like I'm a cat just climbing a little crystal mountain. I started discovering these things when I got out of the foster care system. When I was in the system, I was always stuck in group homes, so I had a limited amount of access to the outside world. When I came out, I was exploring new things, being free-spirited, and I came across a video about crystals. I'd never seen crystals in the past. Then I found out there are different varieties and got interested. To truly believe in something, you have to have faith in it. And I truly believe everything that I read, and I have faith.
No spirit, just lights, but all is well. I took this photo at an amusement park and the energy was just completely there. I don't know if anybody has been in a place where you can just feel all the energy around you. I was working and I didn't have any spirit in me at first, but watching other people have a good time and feeding off that energy made me have a good time as well. Instead of being just in a work mode focus, it affected me in some way spiritually. I'm a very spiritual person. I may not necessarily know or may not even have proof or evidence, but I can still follow the way that I feel, the emotion or the justification of just wanting to do what I want to do at that moment.
This is me, just looking up to God. I actually need God for everything I can actually do. I took this picture so I could remind myself of the things that I know I need from God and that God can only help me. I would say that wellness is when God is actually helping you.
By my bed, I have a fish dish full of different crystals. I really like doing crystal work, spiritual practices, and just practicing witchcraft. That comes with plants, crystals, Palo Santo, whatever. I'm really interested in plants because of how they live and die and create new things. I have a lot of different exotic plants. I have all the different healing crystals, some lavender, and items that promote different things like luck. My fish dish is also coated with spiritual oil. And then I also use Palo Santo to cleanse it. One time I cleansed all my crystals with Palo Santo and salt, and it just brought good intentions to me. If you have cats and you're making an altar or something, they always want to see, and they're so funny, so you can see that in my pictures.
My daily Bible reading, even though I struggle to read it every day, it grounds me. Spirituality, it really is a way or approach to life, and that really differs for everyone. So for me personally, Bible reading helps me to check myself, tells me how are my words, how are my thoughts, and am I working on myself. It also helps me to think about others and how what I do can affect them and their well-being. We're all connected in some way, fashion, or form, and I have to make sure that my actions are not affecting other people's wellness. Observing animals and their behaviors really makes me think deeply. It reminds me that there's more than just humans on the earth. Animals, they don't worry about the mundane things, but just live their best life. When I saw this giraffe, he was just living life, just doing the best he could do day by day. And it just reminded me that I should, do the same. Stop worrying about things that I don't need to really be worrying about, and remember that there is more than just myself.
This verse was sent to me by my little brother, and it really spoke to me in my walk with Christ Jesus. Spending time with God and diving deep into His Word is what helps ground me spiritually.
This picture of my niece and nephew symbolizes spirituality because my little sister passed away last October. When I see them, I see her living through them in spirit. This picture represents spirituality in me because gardening and planting help me feel rooted. Growing up in foster care, all my placements lasted at most a month or two, so all I ever wanted was to establish roots, and in a way, plants symbolize the spirit of feeling at home and setting roots.
I'm very, very spiritual, and I have a bunch of decks of tarot cards. The Sun Tarot card represents success, enlightenment, and hope. The Moon represents deception, secrets, and intuition. The candle sets the atmosphere by highlighting the two sides of what life is. Without intuition and facing deception from others, or maybe yourself, you can't attain enlightenment and the success you so well deserve.
I was trying to capture the moon in this photo because it always has been central to how I view spirituality. Based on my astrological signs, I am greatly impacted by the moon. I have always felt the moon has something to do with how I feel. That night I felt manic, and when I looked up at the sky, it made sense.
Belonging and connecting to others and wellness. Humans are, by nature, social creatures. People connect to different things. Some of us connect to others through similar interests. Others connect to nature, other species, or other things they love. In essence, connection is belonging. You can be well when you find what you belong to or what makes you feel connected. Our connections are at times healing. However, connections are fragile and complicated. We all have connections, yet still we can feel alone. Therefore, it is important to remember what makes humans lonely and isolated is not being without a friend or a community, but being in a situation where one cannot withstand oneself. A Silent Voice is an animated movie that brings attention to the issue of mental illness and the difficulties of overcoming barriers created by life and its complexities. In the movie, the main character uses X's over people's faces to show they have no significance towards him and his own worth means nothing to them. This was taken at an after party at an anime convention I went to. Even though everyone in that room had something in common with me, I still felt like it was hard for me to make a connection because of my mental health issues. I feel like this photo represents what I was feeling in that moment, as I was singing the Pokemon theme song to a bunch of strangers.
This picture of my baby cousin represents connecting to others and wellness to me because being around her makes me feel happy and energetic.
My roommates and I went to Long Beach and we took pictures in front of this fountain. My roommates and I were pretty goofy. For example, when the song by Bruno Mars, Leave the Door Open, plays, or someone says something similar to the lyrics, we all have to sing the song, all of the lyrics. Nobody can say the words. What are you doing? Or what are you doing? Because we sing the whole song after all of us. Around Christmas, my family and I made s'mores on the fireplace and sat by the fire pit, and then we watched really dumb movies.
To enjoy the glow of good health, you must exercise. What better way to do it than with your friends? I've met a lot of friends in this gym where we come together, motivate each other, and try to achieve goals. Apart from maybe going there to be fit, I go there to meet others that are like me, which makes me well. We push each other.
I always feel like the black sheep, or black cat, I guess. Like a black cat, I feel like I'm cursed because people don't understand my trauma and never put me first. I like animals more than I like people. I really, really don't trust people at all, not even myself sometimes. And I think that also ties into my connection with Athena. So usually it takes 2 years for a cat to really get used to you. And so even if I move a little bit or change position, she'll run away. Now that it's a little bit more time, a little update, Athena actually is more comfortable with me and she sleeps with me now. She is going on 2 years. And so, I resonate a lot with that because all my life I feel like a black sheep. Even till now, people don't really understand me.
In the photo is my 2 children and my niece, who I got guardianship of because my sister passed away last October. I've struggled with connection, but with them, I've had a connection that I've never had. It's just a different type of love. My strongest connection is with my kids. I just wanted to share that.
Connecting to my green thumb. My aunt really has a green thumb, and I would see her grow tomatoes and all these fruits and vegetables, and so I would help her, but I've never actually grown something myself. When I started to see these little sprouts, it just made me feel really connected, not only to myself, but to my hands, and also my faith in God, and just knowing that, hey, it's going to grow from seed to root, to tree to fruit. I'm not going to see the fruit the same day, the next day. Just staying patient and being diligent and really watering it and doing the necessary things is very therapeutic. When I would get up in the morning or when I would think about it, just going to the plant and talking to it or watering it, that just made me happy to really see the little sprouts.
Sharing a meal or breaking bread with others is and has often been a great way to connect with others. I myself have gotten to know my closest friends even better when eating a meal with them. I mean, who doesn't like food, right? I like to say friends are family because since I was in foster care and was taken from my mother, I don't know too many of my family members too well, and I'm not super close to the ones I do know, I should say. It's like I've created my own family, so to speak. One of my friends took this picture, which shows me and a guy we had kind of just randomly just met while we were on our way to, or where we went to play basketball. And this young man, we ended up playing with basketball with him for about 2 hours. So sometimes you connect with others through an activity. Specifically, this activity was basketball. And when you work together to accomplish a goal or purpose, whatever that is, that's connecting. So positive connections through activity can definitely aid in wellness.
Music is a personal love language, especially when you can get hype with people about an artist dropping music. Blends on Spotify have really helped me expand my musical horizons, as well as get to know people better, more through music and less through dry small talk. Music will always have a place for everyone, even when not everyone has a place for you.
Life is not a competition between men and women. It's a collaboration. By David Alejandro Fernhead. This shot was actually taken years ago when we shot for this project that was for a USC student short film. We just had such a good time together, and it made me believe that anything was possible. I really wanted to showcase this because at the end of the day, we were all supposed to be united and we were supposed to work together and not feel like we have to put each other down to get where we are. And we were able to do just that.
It is the energy of who I am, what I believe and what I stand for and choose to do. That is where I belong. This is how I connect with others, anywhere and everywhere, but all and always out of love. I show up as myself, as I am. No matter what I do it out of love. I put my best in always. At one point in my life, I thought this would never be true for me. I begged and pleaded to belong, to connect. And once I did, I learned to nurture it.
I've always had trouble connecting with people. I have friends and stuff, but not really that connection that people talk about. I connect to plants and animals better than people. The picture depicts me being alone. I tend to go through things alone. I guess my problem or my biggest quirk is whenever I'm going through things or overly stressed, I isolate myself. I just go through it alone. That's what the picture meant to me.
I took this photo while on a trip to Hawaii with a friend for their birthday. This photo reminds me that you'll never know the beauty of things by being so close. Sometimes you need a better view to get a better understanding of the world around us. I gained a better view of Waikiki and a deeper connection with my friend on that trip.
Caring for your body and wellness. There are many ways we can care for our bodies, and it's essential to abandon unhelpful or destructive societal pressures and learn our own ways to care for our bodies. Taking care of the body in various ways helps us feel better prepared for navigating life. We must choose what works for us, from resting, being active, staying hydrated, watching your perspective, keeping track of your mental health, distressing, or anything else. The ability and audacity to resist past lessons about our unworthiness and lack of free will and instead center ourselves is wellness. It's not easy, and sometimes it feels like the biggest challenge, but being able to center ourselves and recognize that it's time to love ourselves allows us to recuperate from suffering and systemic abuse and move towards our future possibilities.
I feel like completing my homework early and staying hydrated was caring for my body and wellness. I drink a lot of water, and I realized I drink more water when it's out of a fancy cup instead of out of a water bottle. Doing my homework early is a new thing for me this year. I usually turn in everything late.
I take care of my body by resting after a long day. If I have a tiresome day and I'm just like, man, this sucks. I have so many stressors in my life, and I'm just overthinking a lot, I'm like, you know what? I need to go to sleep. I need some rest. I imagine myself sleeping as peacefully as my cat in this photo, just sunbathing the morning away.
I was helping a pastor move people's furniture, and they were moving into new locations. It was kind of my exercise and my way to get out. This was something that I saw because the gentleman had his mind focused on the goals so quickly that he rented me this room for $400 a month, which is more of a shed. The stuff on the walls is not his. We helped him clear out this space so that he could live there. This gentleman was coming off the streets. He was trying to get out of the weather. He was just trying to become a lot more in tune with getting back into society. You know what? The gentleman now is doing very well. This photo reminds me that wellness is progress, change, the method, not the goal.
This is where I go to breathe. I feel like taking care of my body started from the outside inward for me. I feel as though I had to address my environment before I was able to focus on my being. Now I do not believe they are two separate bodies. They are one and all now. It is just that the way that this society is set up, it can be overwhelming to find one's truth and trust in it, or even where to start caring, really. Once I recognize how lucky and or able I am, like today, that is how I care for me, my being, and my body.
The show must go on, they say. It's been a while since I've been up and active, and I was thinking way back when to when I was younger and how I grew up placed in so many different activities. But the one activity that stood out most to me was dance. We practically danced day in and day out. We were placed in American competition groups and Bolivian folklore. And I know a lot of people don't know what Bolivian folklore is, or even about our country, Bolivia, for that matter. But it was just something that we became so used to. Anytime someone would see our costumes, see our dance numbers, listen to our music, eat our food, they seemed really intrigued by it. So much so that they would question every little thing of what we were showcasing. To our costumes, to our braids to see if it was even real or not. And then towards the end of it, they would want pictures with us. It was always quite an interesting experience, I'd say. But I just wish that more people cared to educate themselves when it came to not only our country, but so many others as well. Here it is, where it was actually raining pretty hard, and I was surprised that we're still going through with it. This is something that I honestly miss doing.
I used to do track and cross country, so I love to run. Helps me stay in shape and actually keep my physique. Sometimes when I come back, my legs are so sore it's hard to walk. I also like to walk. I feel walking, it helps me stay slender and keeps me in great shape. Also, with the weights, I'll use them. Not all the time because I'm not a big guy, but I'll use them here and there, and I'll also use them with calisthenics, like sit-ups, push-ups, and stuff like that. It makes me feel good.
Boxing is a way for me to release any stress, anger, or anxiety coming my way in a healthy manner. That day, I don't know what was going through my head, but once I hit the bag, for the very first time, a lot of the stress and anger actually left.
I love the sun, so when it is sunny outside, I sit outside and write about my emotions in my journal. As a person that struggles with anxiety and depression, it helps me get out my feelings.
I eat fruit on a daily as part of means of getting healthy because fruits have proven to have immense benefits for the body, also for the skin. There's this saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I follow that, but not just apple, it's all the fruits. Some days I just make a fruit shake and mix a lot of fruits together. It's just good. I know it's good for the body.
Getting outside and being active definitely contributes to my wellness. I remember as a kid I grew up outside. Before I was in foster care, my mom would say, go outside, go get some fresh air outside. And my grandparents did the same thing. They would say, go outside. So for me, it was always, it became easy to me to go outside because I enjoyed it. I like playing sports. I was a weird kid, picking up grass, looking at worms and stuff like that. I just always enjoyed playing outside.
Sometimes I feel like Kim. I met this artist a long time ago, and when I saw this picture, I was like, I don't know why, but I have to have it. And he was like, you like The Simpsons? And I was like, no, not really. It was just something about the picture and the vibes, and him and his underwear. He's just vibing with himself, and even though he's got his own little problems in the show, I just love it. I love dancing as a way to feel connected with myself and others and stay fit. I love pole dancing even though it seems taboo. My old gym even had an 8-year-old practicing traditional Chinese pole dancing. It was so cool. I really feel like just doing whatever you love, no matter how it's perceived, is important.
Food is my culture. Food is my wellness. Food is my comfort. And I like cooking. I battle with my relationship with food. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I get super frustrated. I'm like, oh God, I hate food. But I always come back to it because food is good and food makes me feel good. It's always been there, and in the heart of me joining the foster care system, there were points when I did not want to do nothing, where you just want to do nothing because you're not with your family anymore. It's like you don't want to eat the things that you liked before because everything has been ripped away from you. Coming back into that space of being like, yes, I can heal, and this will be my first step. Food.
Taking time to refresh yourself, I think, is essential to wellness. Sometimes that means saying no to others and doing what you want to do. You get pulled in so many different directions. People need this, people need that, I need this, and it's just like, from work to family to friends. It's not necessarily a bad thing that people have needs, but sometimes you just have to pause. In this picture, I'm here at the beach, away from people. I just got the chance to refresh myself and think about me. and just what I wanted to do.
This is me walking on a field. I love the way my body is, and I intend on keeping my body in the best shape. Walking makes me feel free. I tend to enjoy myself listening to music, and then by doing that, burning calories and staying in shape.
Being the change and wellness. James Baldwin once said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." So it doesn't matter if the change is large or small, individual or community level, you just have to have the courage to be the change. Change isn't about quick fixes. It's all work in progress, no matter how long it may take you to complete it. Once you see the results, it all seems worth it. You are a revolutionary, and do not let anyone tell you differently, no matter what. We as youth who have experienced real shit, who are sick and tired of the stereotypes, the labels, the rules, the pressure, the reports, the inaction, the failures, and the oppression, won't change. We have the voice and the power. We are the change.
Have fun, be yourself, and don't let others stop you from doing you. That is me, the guy in the back. I'm in a little suit and tie wearing a pink leg. I've noticed growing up, the men in my household, and also a lot of men in my culture at times, feel like they have to be a certain way, that we have to be macho, that we can't smile. It's, society's expectation of us, and it's like, no, you don't have to do what society's expectation of you is. You can be different. You can smile, you can laugh, and as a man, you can communicate your feelings. You can be silly. It's okay.
Ever since I got sick with COVID, I was just like, oh, I need to do better. I need to take care of my body. I'm eating junk. I'm not exercising. I just started eating fruits and going for runs. Instead of eating junk food, I just eat mangoes and fruit when I want to eat junk food. I've been doing it for 2 weeks. It doesn't satisfy my cravings, but when I do want to eat chips or junk food really bad, I just go to sleep.
I took a picture of all the shirts I have. I feel like my wardrobe has gone through a really big change because I used to wear a lot of dark colors. I would wear dicky pants with collared shirts and oversized hoodies. I looked like a little boy all the time. A year ago, I decided to wear a bit more color, and I started doing my nails. I started doing a bunch of hair treatments to get my curls back. It was a lot of change for me. I feel a lot better about myself. I was finding myself, and I feel comfortable in the clothes that I was in.
I feel like my entire existence is focused on being the change I want, the change I need. I tell stories that challenge us to love those whom society may have deemed less than and or unworthy, maybe just misunderstood. I love to write stories about worlds created and shaped out of love. I feel that through telling these stories, we may be able to change sentiments about the same, always with the idea of loving and supporting each other centered. This is how I am being the change.
These pictures are from when I went to a Black Lives Matter protest. I really liked when the protests were going on because it was cool just to see the different people. It was like Armenians for Black Lives Matter, Asians for Black Lives Matter, and more. Because there's a lot of cultures and people who don't really look at darker skin or black people as appealing. Seeing all those people and different cultures there for the Black Lives Matter protests gave me just a little bit of hope as an African American. And so I believe in advocacy and standing for what you believe in.
Being the change starts from within you every morning. Determination and getting the strength to push and make people happy, put smile on people's faces. Being the change doesn't mean you have to do something very, very extravagant or you have to go extra mile to do stuff. You can do little things and then you can be the change.
Now with this photo in particular, I remember I wasn't having the greatest day. When there are moments when I'm overthinking or I'm feeling really anxious and overwhelmed, I tend to look within my surroundings. That way I can keep my mind distracted for a moment in time. As I looked up in the sky, and as you can see here in the middle, it looks just like a smiley face. My first thought that came to mind when I saw that was like, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be just fine. It honestly made my day for some reason. It gave me some kind of hope. And I hope it does for you as well. This photo reminds me of change because I took it the first time I stepped out on my own and lived without my family. It reminds me that despite the changes that went on through those couple of months, and even though it was quite difficult, I did get to learn a lot of things by being away from home. When you tend to have self-doubt within yourself because of the things that you've heard from others over the years, you tend to doubt yourself and question if you could really do it. But you gotta realize that people's past perceptions of you don't really mean as much as what you actually think about yourself. It made me realize, wow, I'm a lot better at being on my own than I would have ever realized if I didn't venture out for those last couple of months.
I'm not confident in myself. I have self-esteem issues. I took a day to nourish myself and try to make myself feel confident because I was going through a rough time. To do it, I decided to do a little photo shoot with all my finest clothes. The change starts with you. Building yourself to go and make changes on the outside, whether you are changing yourself or making changes to the world. Nobody can change you but you.
I'm not sure what this building is, but I took this peaceful picture on a wild night at 3 a.m. On my way home that night, I encountered a girl running away from her home. As I spoke to her and learned her story, I saw myself and became determined to help her. As I contacted others for support, we sat in my car outside this building where I often travel when seeking a bit of calmness. I hoped that the setting would help her feel a little calmer on a tough night.
In 2016, my best friend passed away. She chose to end a lifelong time of trauma one morning while taking her dog out for a walk. No alert was issued because of a history of running away, when in reality, she only ran away twice to feel free. It took a month for a team of volunteers to start looking. They ended up finding her remains the next day, the day before her birthday. She was only 100 yards away from her home. In 2016, I lost my faith in the system. They called it teenage rebellion. I called it change.